NATO allies are putting its forces on standby, sending reinforcements to Eastern Europe, a response to Russia's buildup of troops on Ukraine's borders. But questions remain about what NATO's next steps could be. In the next few minutes, we break down all the steps that could be taken in case of an invasion. So let's address the most crucial question that everyone is asking. Will NATO come to Ukraine's defense? Technically, it is not obligated to do so militarily. Ukraine is not a member of NATO, which means the alliance is not treaty-bound to defend it. Joe Biden has already said that he is sending neither U.S. nor allied troops to fight Russia. But Kiev remains a close partner. For the moment, the 30-member military alliance is working closely with Ukraine. The plan is to modernize its armed forces. Canada operates a training program in Ukraine, while Denmark is also setting up its efforts to bring the military up to NATO standards. Now, the alliance has also said it will help Ukraine defend against cyber attacks, providing secure communications equipment for military command. So does that mean that NATO will arm Ukraine? Currently, countries are sending weapons to Ukraine. This includes the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Baltic states. Another NATO member, Turkey, has sold drones to Ukraine. However, the alliance is not united on its stance. Germany is again sending arms to Ukraine. So if NATO is not obligated to fight, why is it putting forces on standby? The alliance is concerned about a potential spillover from the conflict, particularly in the Black Sea region and in the Baltic Sea. The U.S. has put about 8,500 troops on high alert. Denmark is sending a frigate to the Baltic Sea. Spain has sent both a minesweeper and a frigate to join NATO naval forces. Madrid is also considering sending fighter jets to Bulgaria, while the Netherlands has also offered 2 F-35 warplanes to Bulgaria. Now, France may also send troops to Romania under NATO command, but all of these actions seem like unilateral moves. Which brings us to the next question. Why are the allies not moving more quickly or more cohesively? For now, Russia says it has no intention of invading Ukraine. NATO has offered more talks with Moscow to find a solution, but as an alliance of 30 countries with different priorities, decisions in NATO are taken collectively. So it can take time to drum up the necessary troops for joint missions. Currently, NATO has 4 multinational battalion-sized battle groups. These are around 4,000 soldiers led by Canada, Germany, Britain, and the United States. They are present in countries like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Poland. The troops serve as a tripwire for NATO's 40,000-strong response force. So what is NATO's strategy for now? NATO is adopting a wait-and-watch approach. It says it is ready to protect and defend its allies. For now, the conflict with Russia has sparked NATO's unintended renewal. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the alliance lacked a meaningful role. The US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003 created bitter disputes between several members. Macron even once described NATO as brain-dead. But the conflict now has given it renewed purpose, an allied unity in an often fractious organization of 30 member states. Now, for more on this, our correspondent, Susan Takrani, is joining us live from New York. Hello to you, Susan. Thank you for being with us. Now, Ukrainian President Zelensky says that he wants clear answers from NATO on whether his country would be a part of the alliance or not. What could Washington's response be?
So, what Washington will immediately respond in this current atmosphere, judging from tensions going on with Russia, perhaps will be what it's been saying, and that is that NATO has an open door policy, and it will adhere to that, meaning that it is open to having Ukraine join NATO. It won't make any guarantees as of now, but it has the sovereignty to make that decision. Remember, Washington is in a very tricky situation right now, as are NATO member states, in making that decision, because they just gave that written response to Russia regarding its security concerns, and one of those concerns was about the concern that Russia had that Ukraine never joined NATO, and they came out and said that we have this open door policy, that we have the sovereignty and the integrity to decide who joins NATO and who doesn't. One thing to take into consideration is that NATO had the opportunity to have Ukraine join its organization for many years, even as soon as 2014. It has chosen not to do that. So this is not something new, considering the fact that, we're talking about it now amidst this crisis.
Right. Now, Susan, Ukrainian president has also said that he needs financial support from nations, including the US, something which was discussed during his call with President Joe Biden. When can this be expected?
Again, United States and NATO member states are saying that they continue to support Ukraine financially. And that's something that we've been hearing and getting news in the media. How and when the support is being granted is under question. First of all, on the one hand, I think the support has been in the framework of military equipment. And on the other hand, I think what President Zelensky was focusing on in this press conference, and a message not only to the United States but NATO member states, was sort of on the money end of things, because he's not only talking about assistance in defending his country, but he was really hyper-focused on maintaining Ukraine's economy. So that is something very important to look into, to not only get aid in NATO's defense Ukraine's defense capabilities, but also sort of uphold and assist Ukraine and its economy as well. And I think it's very important, just a very important thing to mention, we are talking about the winter, and we put a lot of focus and emphasis on what happens in Europe during the winter if it's cut off from Russian oil and gas. And Biden and NATO member states are talking about a way to get American oil and gas into Europe should Russia stop that. But I think President Zelensky mentioned something that was thought-provoking, and that was the fact that who is talking about what will happen to Ukraine if Ukraine is cut off sort of from that oil and gas sector of the international economy. So I think that was something important to note during that press conference as well.
Absolutely, Susan. Thank you very much for joining us with your valuable insights there.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.